Welcome to the Extra Pass podcast presented by Melbourne United. I'm your host, Ben Hopkins, joined as always by my co-host, Adam Ballinger. Balls, how are you?
Oh, good to be back, Ben. I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks for having me back.
It is, it's quite an opportunity for you. You know, you really...
12 in a row. I've been on for 12 in a row.
12, it's impressive, if anything.
Thank you, thanks.
And we're joined here by a very special guest, returning Melbourne United superstar, Matthew Dellavedova. Delly, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for coming on the podcast, especially on a special day for you on your birthday. Happy birthday, mate.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
What's it been like making this transition back to Melbourne? Obviously, you spent the last year in the NBA and back here in Australia. What's the past few months been like?
It's been busy, but good fun to be back. Spending a lot of time with family. Just, getting the house set up, getting the family settled in, kids into different activities, and it's been really good.
What are the things that you miss most while you're in America?
I mean, outside of family,
that's a big one.
Yeah, that's the obvious one.
That's it. You got to say that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a given. But I would say the food and coffee, and then the footy. Went to the footy last night. Pretty good win for the Pies. So I was happy with that.
Is that your team? Who won? Collingwood.
Yeah.
Right? Is that your team?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, nice. We won't talk. We get in trouble for talking too much footy on this.
No, it's
podcast.
fine. People love because
the footy talk. Yeah.
Balls knows. Well, he's been here 20 years.
Yeah, I know a little bit. I know more than the average American, but I don't know a lot. I think
you're not an average American. You're an Australian.
That's true. American. I'm not average either. Yeah, above average. I have a theory that ruckmen are overrated. Bad theory?
They're pretty important.
Yeah. I guess I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, I thought in that Collingwood game, I thought Coxie did a great job. I thought he
did. Your fellow American.
Yeah, I know. It just shows
you
you.
Should be supporting the Pies.
Well, maybe a team will get me in for
He's a Bombers man.
Yeah, I'm a Bombers guy. We haven't been good since I got indoctrinated into the team or like into the fandom.
I was going to say, have they won a finals game since you've been here?
Well, I got here in 2003. Didn't they win?
2000.
Oh, so no. Yeah.
When you talk about the food you miss, I think of sort of uniquely Australian foods like meat pies and stuff like that. Is it as simple as when you get back here, you just love a meat pie or something like that?
I try to stay away from the meat pies.
I was going to say, he doesn't look like he eats many meat pies.
Just a lot of steak. But I think just some of the freshness of the food and just a lot of the different cafes can always get avocado toast, which is a bit of a staple. And just fresh, healthy food is probably more accessible here.
Well, you got a coffee there. You're a big coffee guy?
I am.
So what? I like coffee too, but I don't know the differences. I'm a Nescafe 43 blend every morning, 43 perfectly blended beans. But how can you tell like this is good coffee? Like, do you have your coffee black or like?
Yeah, I have my coffee black. Long blacks or ice long blacks, hopefully when the weather gets a little bit warmer, more consistently. But I just like more Sumatra type beans. Yeah, not like fruity types of coffee beans.
Yeah. Did it take a while to get that palate, or you've always been a coffee guy?
Probably took a little while. When I was in Cleveland, I did like a little coffee deal, and part of it I got to test out different blends and make my own blend, so I learned a lot through that process about roasting and got to go in there, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, the Midwest isn't not known for their coffee like Melbourne is at all.
Not publicly known, but there is a lot of good coffee
is
spots.
there really?
Yeah, there is in Cleveland and Milwaukee. Yeah,
nice.
Well, yeah, shout out to my partner Elle. She's just come around she gets an ice long black with a splash of milk, so might be the go-to when summer comes.
Definitely. You can drink a lot more coffee when it's summer and it's just iced.
Yeah. Well, you talk about the good coffee in Melbourne. We're so excited to have you back here at United. Can you talk a bit about what brought you back here and how excited you are for this season?
Yeah. I mean, I loved my time here 2 years ago. It was a lot of fun. Great group of guys. I felt like I got better, by playing a lot more than I had the previous year. The physios and wait staff really helped get me back healthy and feeling strong and feeling good again. And I wanted to come back and do a similar thing. This time my body feels great. I feel like I'm in a much better spot, but wanted to come back play a lot, and really get ready and have a crack for the Olympics.
Yeah, I was going to say you're looking swole, like you're looking big coming back. Is that something you identified? Just like, did you want to get bigger or?
Well, it's funny. I've actually got leaner, but yeah, like I'm a lot lighter and a lot quicker, which just kind of takes pressure off your knees and ankles, and have been working really hard in the off season, and then just eating a lot of steak, and that's helped a lot as well.
So an all steak, well, probably
Steak
not all
and
steak,
coffee.
steak,
and
coffee.
diet.
That's how you become an elite guard. If you're listening, young basketball players, steak,
I think-
black coffee, and avocado toast.
I think I could do that diet. That's a heck of a diet. You also have to work out a bit, though, dude, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you have to work out a ton, but you really can't outwork a bad diet, and you need proper fuel so you can work really hard and recover and have your muscles rebuild. And I think I've always constantly tried to experiment and see what works for me. And avocado toast for breakfast has always been one that's worked for me. So that's been the last 6 or 7 years. And then just figuring out lunch and dinner around it. But have experimented with a lot more steak this summer, and have felt the best I've felt. I've got lighter, feel stronger, recover better. So it's been good.
When you talk about getting leaner, was that something that you identified in the off season, or is that something that maybe came up when you were back in the NBA?
No, it's just something I identified. I think for me, I've always been strong as a guard. I don't feel like I need to get stronger to defend that position, but I think if I can get quicker, it just helps. Obviously defensively, but also getting by people in transition, getting into the lane. So wanted to experiment a bit more with that, see how far I could go with that, and so far I feel like it's been really beneficial.
Yeah, and obviously you're saying you're feeling good and you're feeling physically at near your best. Can you talk a bit about, I guess, what fans might expect from you on the court when they see this, I guess, new version of Delly in Melbourne United uniform?
Probably, I would say I can get to the rim a bit more, get in the lane. My legs feel a lot stronger. And just having played more consistent basketball over the last 2 years versus coming in, I'd missed some time 2 years ago and was kind of trying to get back on. So I'm excited to get going and get the season started.
Yeah, well, I want to talk a bit about how you fit into this group and your thoughts on the group we've put together after the break.
Melbourne United memberships are on sale now. Lock in your seat for the most exciting show in Australian sport and guarantee you're there for every highlight across this next season. To find out more, go to membership.melbourneutd.com.au.
And we're back on the Extra Pass podcast presented by Melbourne United with our special guest, Matthew Dellavedova. Delly, talk a bit about this group that we've put together. It's a stacked group, a lot of talent, a lot of guys that were here from your last stint, but walk me through your excitement to get to take the court with these guys.
I'm really excited, and I think Dean and the club recruit great people, and that's part of why I had so much fun here 2 years ago, and why I think Melbourne United's been so successful over a long period of time, and I think it just makes it enjoyable to come in each day and work hard and get better, and you have guys that really want to do that to better the team, but better their individual games so they can go on to continue to improve as well. So we've got a great mix of young hungry guys coming in, veterans that know how to play and have tasted a lot of success. So obviously Joe coming back and me coming back, there's kind of inbuilt chemistry there with CG and Chile and Newells and guys that have been here before. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and one of those guys that you didn't mention, but obviously
Oh,
was
Big
here.
A.
And Big A, of course. How exciting is it to have a lob threat like Big A, especially now that he's healthy again?
Yeah, and I don't know many people that get more explosive after injury, but it's been impressive because he must have been working really hard. Obviously with the physios and weights coaches here, and I think he's really improved, and I think his talk has got better as well. And he's been shown more things in the post, so. I'm looking forward to trying to throw him as many lobs as I can this year.
We did a game time yesterday where we go to a school and had that all day thing with clinics and stuff, and the players show up at the end, and he showed up and he's got Crocs on. I'm like, oh, he's not going to go too hard. He's not into this. And it started the game. He dunked the ball like 25 times. He was dunking on second graders, third grader, it didn't matter. And he was like, I was like, be careful, you know what I mean? He was like windmilling, catching alley-oops. He was loving it.
The kids would have been loving it as well.
Kids were loving it. But I mean, it's impressive. I mean, it's so easy for him to get up. And in Crocs aren't the best basketball shoes. And it's outside. So to see what he can do on an actual court, with actual shoes on will be pretty amazing.
Were you keeping stats? How many points did he have?
No. Oh, he had a lot of points. I think he shot 100% too. I'm the kind of the referee, but I just stand to the side and let him go. I don't want to be the show,
Well, obviously you've touched on some of the guys that you're familiar with coming back. We've got a lot of new guys, a lot of young talent coming in. Can you talk a bit about who's impressed so far with your time back at United?
Yeah, no.
I know it's always hard to pick one person, but you don't have to pick one. Talk about how impressive they all are if you want.
Yeah, they're a bunch of workers, and they've been putting in the time each day. And obviously, Tripp was here last time, but it's been good to get to know Bloggy and TK. They've got some good chemistry from playing at Sandy together, and I think getting the experience playing in those games against Tassie was really good for them. They both know how to play the game and work hard. Flynn is strong, big, strong guard. Can kind of create space and finish around the rim, and has a nice mid-range as well.
Yeah. What about some of the, obviously, two guys you didn't mention, but Tanner, KB, a couple of St. Mary's boys. What's that connection been like?
It's been great. The more Gales, the better. Yeah. I think I probably know KB more from just playing pickup with the St. Mary's boys the last couple of years, and I've got to know him, and he's have talked to Coach Bennett about him a lot, and Coach Bennett just rates him so highly as a person, as a leader, as a competitor, and you've seen what he's done, in his college career and how important he was to the team there, and I think he's made his presence and leadership felt here as well, and he just brings it every day, every possession. He's always talking and competing at a high level, and I think that raises everyone's level around them. And then Tanner can really shoot it. He's impressed me with how he can put the ball on the floor as well and get to the rim. Really good defender, competes hard as well, and just another smart player who knows how to play the game.
So you said you train or scrimmage back at St. Mary's in the summers. Is that something you've always done?
Whenever the season,
yeah.
When I have time, not with national team or playoffs and things like that. So, spend a bit of time close to there. My wife's from near there, so it's pretty handy to be able to go and play some quality 5-on-5.
Yeah. Do a lot of guys come back? A lot of the St. Mary's guys come back every summer and get good runs? Guys will come back and play. So there'll be an alumni team that's trying to get some wins versus the young boys that are running plays, and but it's good. It's competitive. People play hard, play the right way. So it's good quality runs.
Yeah, you talk about playing hard. It seems like St. Mary's just produces guys who just work their asses off constantly. Is that something that even from when you were there was just instilled in that's just the St. Mary's style?
Yeah. And I think Coach Bennett, firstly recruits players that are workers and want to get better and work hard. But then the culture there is just, you put in the work, you're getting extra shots, you're, going hard in weights, conditioning, watching game tape. And I think when you're surrounded by people that are, trying to get better and putting in that effort and the extra work, it's contagious, and everyone's trying to be the hardest worker there, which is a great culture to have, and part of why St. Mary's has been so successful for such a long time, which is pretty rare in college basketball to have this kind of sustained success.
You talk about, I guess, that hardworking culture. It's something that you've made your career on, just outworking people and, hustling and playing lockdown defense, all that sort of stuff. Where, I guess, might be a difficult question, but where did that sort of style of play come from? Was that something that, country basketball just brought that out of you when you were younger, or?
I guess, I don't know. It's probably a question for my mum and dad, but for as long as I can remember, it's always been that way, and I've always been super competitive, whether it's basketball, footy, soccer, tennis, board games, and I'm doing everything I can to try to win or help my team win. And whether it's, I was taking charges in under 12s, under 14s, and, diving on the floor, and that's just all I've ever known. So I think that's just kind of how I am.
You talk about competitive in board games. I'm not sure if you'd remember. It was your first year here, or your last year here. It was the first road trip I ever came on, and I sort of didn't really know. I haven't flown around lots in my life, so I didn't really know what to do. I was sort of sitting around. I was sitting near yourself, DB, Chris, and I think Mason. You were all playing Monopoly Snap or Monopoly Go or whatever.
Yep.
And I was just sitting there. I was like, I'll just follow these guys. Whenever these guys get up, we'll need to go. And I was just sort of sitting. And then over the loudspeaker, they called all of our names because our flight was leaving in about 5 minutes. And we all had to rush I think we were flying to Adelaide. We all had to rush to the terminal. So you guys were pretty locked in on that game.
Yeah, and all of those guys are very competitive guys, and I think they were hustling me to start with because they had all played a lot before, and I was just getting into it and learning the rules. So I picked up a couple more wins as the season went on, but it was a rough start.
Well, I want to get into a bit more about your time here after the break when we get to Fast Five with Balls.
Want to stay up to date with everything happening at Melbourne United? Download the Melbourne United app today. Filled with videos, audio and articles about your favourite team. It's the one-stop shop for everything Melbourne United. Download the Melbourne United app via the App Store on iOS or the Google Play Store on Android.
And we're back on the Extra Pass podcast, and it's time for Fast Five with Balls.
Ready?
This is Fast Five with Balls.
Been waiting for this the whole time. Now we're on to the fun stuff. Yeah, they're hard hitting, so I hope you're ready.
All right, Deli, here we go. In Sacktown, did you call it Sacktown or Sacramento? Is it Sacktown like a tourist thing? No one there actually calls it Sacktown?
I just called it Sacramento.
Yeah.
Or Sac.
I think everyone on the outside calls it Sacktown, but that's what I'll call it. In Sacktown, did you ever personally get to light the beam, like push the button? Was it a button or a crank? Or
It was a button. I didn't, so
You didn't get to.
Still on my bucket list.
And then to follow on there, more serious question. What was it like to be like not a veteran, because you're not that old yet, but to be like one of the older people in that locker room and to kind of be a leader with all those young guys?
It was a lot of fun. We had a great group that, similar to here, a lot of hard workers, guys played together. The expectations going into the season weren't as high on the outside as what we had internally. And it was a lot of fun to pick up some momentum and really play fast, share the ball, and just have a good vibe around the whole city.
Yeah, it looked fun from the outside looking in. It looked like a fun team.
Those crowds, they seem like they were just going crazy. I guess it's been a long time since they've seen winning basketball.
Yeah, and the super passionate fans, and that's part of what made it so fun was you could really feel the energy and excitement as even from the preseason games. It was really loud in there, and yeah, obviously in the first time in the playoffs, I think in 16 years, and yeah, they were going nuts.
Okay, Bitcoin. You're into Bitcoin. Is it just Bitcoin or is it all? What's the term?
Oh, I'm not that
Crypto?
guy.
Crypto. Is it all crypto? Is it Bitcoin?
Bitcoin only. If you're concerned about inflation or
Yeah. So yeah, what got you into that and why? I guess.
so when COVID hit, my teammates and I were in a group chat. Everyone started day trading stocks on Robinhood. I was messing around with options, bet on the market to go up after it had bottomed out. Made some money. Then it kept going up, which didn't make sense to me when no one was working. So I bet on it to go down. Got crushed within a couple of days, quickly sold and broke even, and was left with the question, why is the stock market going up when no one's working? In the US, I didn't know that the government could print money. And once, I learned that, I thought inflation would happen. This is 2020. So I looked into inflation hedges, had a little bit of real estate, looked into gold. And when I was looking into gold, I found Bitcoin. So for the last 3+ years, I've been learning as much as I can about it. And I think it's going to be important for everyone to learn about at some point. But yeah, the main things are Bitcoin, not crypto. There's only 21 million coins. You don't have to get a full one. Like you can get $5, $10. And it's a solution to the broken money we have right now.
Hamish and Andy bought a Bitcoin. That's where I first heard of it, and then it went up to went up to, and they can't find the code. Are you an idiot? So they can't find the code, and they've got all this money locked in, and they legitimately can't get the money.
All of your codes.
Yeah,
are
do you got the codes? Are you worried about losing those?
I'm not. I'm not. There's a lot of different custody options, multi-sig and different things these days. But definitely important thing to learn about if you're concerned about inflation or house prices being out of control and things like that.
You're like that guy in that movie. You know that movie?
That's so non-specific.
The Big Short?
Yeah, the Big Short.
I watch it.
Big Short fan?
I am. I watch it every 2 to 3 months.
I was going to say, you're like the guy that knew that everything was going to crash.
It's a good movie. Well, when the podcast really takes off and Balls and I are multi-millionaires, we'll come to you for Bitcoin advice.
Yeah, what to do with it. Or NFTs. I get asked all the time to do NFTs because on Twitter and stuff. Because my art. And I've never, I just don't understand them. I just keep saying no. Probably a bad idea. Okay, next up. Oh, did you say you're the healthiest guy on the team? Like number one healthiest guy on the team? Like top to bottom? As far as like what you eat, you're like.
With some of the new guys, I gotta talk to them and see where they're at with things. But if there is someone, I mean, I'd definitely pick their brain and ask them questions.
I'd say yes. I'd say definite.
Yeah, I think I've got it pretty dialed in at this point, but I'm still learning more and getting better, which is fun.
Is it a portion thing? Like, I'm terrible with portions because I just eat until I can't eat anymore, which is not good. But that was growing up in an Italian family, so it was just you have to just keep eating until there's nothing left. But like, is it for you? Is it like, okay, I'm every night or every day I'm going to eat this much of this and this much of this and this much of this?
It's not super precise like that. I think for me, especially when I was eating, just a ton of steak. It's more just when you have your carbs, when you have your protein, things like that. So before training is more important to have more carbohydrates so you got energy to burn. But then, after practice and at night, have more protein, less carbs because, I don't really need them. So, and yeah, I think if you're eating protein or, steaks or meat or cheese or things like that, you can eat to your full and it's not really gonna be a negative.
Really? Cheese even?
Yeah.
Dang, that's good. I
Well,
like a lot of
just
cheese.
protein and fats.
Well, that's good because I love cheese.
I know, that's good.
Yeah, try that.
All right, what sunshine, steak, and grounding? What does that mean?
That's what I've been really focusing on this off season, and it's helped me feel, great. Steak, we've talked about a
we
lot.
covered steak.
Yeah.
Sunshine, is that the literal just being out in the sun?
Yeah. It's important to get morning sunlight in your eyes, like for your circadian rhythm, and it'll help protect your skin more. If you get sun early in the morning.
Really?
I'm not saying go lay out in the sun for like 3 hours and get cooked in summer, but I think it's really important to get sunshine on your body as well. You obviously don't want to burn, but and then grounding is just getting barefoot on the grass, on the sand, and
Told you that's what it is.
Yeah, I don't.
My wife said the same thing the other day. I'm like, why aren't you wearing shoes? She's like, I'm grounding. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I had no idea what that.
Yeah,
meant.
you walk around with bare feet, right?
Yeah, and I think that's something that I've always liked to do, but I've really tried to do more of it this off season, especially post workouts, just to kind of kickstart the recovery process.
Does it have to be on grass or sand or dirt, or can it be on like concrete or carpet?
I don't think it works on concrete or carpet or things like that. I think
something
grass,
natural.
sand,
Yeah, it has to be natural.
Yeah.
So not the basketball court. or anything
Nah,
like
I
that.
don't think that's going to work. Yeah.
All right, here we on to number 4. Okay. What's it like to be like a cult hero? I would say you're a true cult hero, like world renowned. Does that annoy you? To me, I think you are. Does that annoy you, or is something that is like a kind of a cool title to have? Or because I could see two sides of it. It's like a cool thing to be known as, or maybe you don't feel you are. I don't know. But the other part of it is like it might take away from like the incredible like journey you've been on and the career that you have and are still having, the crazy things that you've done, to people to like distill that down to being a cult hero. Do you know what I mean?
You mean like in Cleveland, or?
I just think in not here necessarily, maybe in America, maybe with people that don't know as much about the NBA, but have heard about you. Like I don't know. What does that mean to you? What does cult hero mean to you? And do you think that's BS? Maybe?
I mean, I've never really thought about it.
Oh, really?
It's a new question.
It's good if we're asking new questions. I'm sure
Yeah.
you've been asked a lot of questions over your career.
Been asked a lot of questions, a lot the same, but yeah, I mean, I guess it's cool that people, have some memory of you playing somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's cool as hell. I mean, I'd love to be a cult hero. Like Joe Burrow is like is a huge fan of you. He's the highest paid
I saw that.
NFL player of all time, right?
Yeah, and
As of today.
congrats to him. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's incredible to me. So there's the connection. If you could talk to Joe and maybe we can get him on.
He's probably pretty busy now that the season started, but maybe
Yeah, but if
after the
you
season.
call him, we might have an in. All right, last one. Okay, Maryborough, not necessarily a basketball hotbed. Okay, we talked about it a little bit. How much do you think that growing up in a town like that helped your career? Or I think, tell me if I'm wrong, you could have been born anywhere. And like it's not where you're born. It's not necessarily being a country kid. That's probably helped a little bit, but like your work ethic, your abilities and all that kind of stuff probably would have developed no matter where you're from. Maybe Maryborough won't want to hear this, but how much do you think that played into your career and where you're at now? And do you think, I don't know, it's kind of a weird question, isn't it? I'm talking myself into a corner. Or do you think you could have been born, like, what if you were born in, I don't know, Bondi Beach? Do you think you'd be the same person?
That's an interesting one I haven't had before either.
Good job, Balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dug deep on these. I'm actually going to need to take a nap after this.
I think it definitely helped. small country town, but everyone loves sport. There's been a lot of great sports people from Maryborough, and I think a cool thing that everyone plays every sport in Maryborough, whereas nowadays I don't think kids, even in Australia, they like specialize a lot sooner, and I think there's a lot of studies that show that playing different sports when you're younger up until 12, 14 is really good for your athletic development because your body's moving in different movement patterns. And so I was lucky I didn't have to specialize as soon, and I got to play footy, soccer, tennis, field hockey, and I think like just finding ways to win in other sports is a good skill to work on. I remember we would go away on family holidays to tennis tournaments, and I would walk out to play tennis with my tennis racket and water bottle, and I'd be playing against some kids from Melbourne who tennis was their sport. They'd have the bag with 2 or 3 rackets in there, and I was like, I'm gonna beat you. And sometimes I got the better of them, and that really, I guess, satisfied me because I could find a way to win even though it wasn't my sport. But I had a lot of mates that were really good at sport and really good at soccer, footy, and tennis, and so competing against them in those different sports I think was great for my athletic development in general. So there was that aspect, and then I obviously wouldn't have been able to go anywhere with my career unless my parents were willing to drive me around the countryside. And I think that's something that I've always really appreciated, but now having 2 kids myself, and it's just incredible what they were able to do for myself and my sisters after work, driving us to Bendigo 3 or 4 nights a week, Melbourne every second week, tournaments on the weekends. And I think knowing, even like when you're younger, if we're driving in the car an hour to go to training in Bendigo, I'm not going to waste a training session or a game because it's an hour there, it's an hour back. I'm not going to waste my time, but I'm also not going to waste my mom and dad's time by not going as hard as I can or trying to get the most out of a tournament on the weekend, because I know they sacrificed a lot for me and my sisters as well.
That's a great answer. So I think it does matter that you're from Maryborough. I think that definitely helped in your development. Probably. I can attest. I got kids driving around. I don't have to drive them that far. It's so annoying. Every night, every weekend, we got to drive to this place, that place. You're just a taxi. Not getting paid for it either. It costs you money.
Which of those non-basketball sports did you like the most, and which potentially were you the best at?
I really liked them all. And it's funny, like basketball was always number one, and I always wanted to be a basketball player and, represent Australia and play in the NBA. But I always loved playing the other sports, whether it was tennis in the summer, more soccer in the winter. So there was just different aspects of the different sports that I liked. So it was I had a great time growing up in Maryborough, and it was a lot of fun.
What position did you play in soccer? Striker?
Nah, midfield. Wanted to be involved in the action. Yeah. Same with footy, and pretty much same with hockey. A little bit on the wing in hockey.
Yeah, that is a lot of sports. Did you pick up pickleball at all in America because of tennis? Pickleball. I've never played it. I've seen people play though. It's huge.
It's got massive. I've played a couple times, but I was just 100% basketball this summer. No golf.
No time for pickleball.
No pickleball. No tennis.
No golf even.
Nah, I was locked in.
Very nice.
Nice fast five. That's it. That's all 5. A very slow fast 5.
Good question.
No, we got through it. Well, Delly, thanks so much for coming on the podcast, especially on your birthday. We really appreciate you making the time, and we can't wait for September 28, round 1, to see you on the court, John Cain Arena, at what's already a near sold-out crowd. So thanks so much for the time, mate.
Thanks for having me.